Next up, Heather Channon from the National Pig Action Plan is going to speak to us about people power being the key. Who'd have thunked it? Thank you,
very
Heather.
much. Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank the Conservation Ecology Centre for the invitation to speak today. It's a pleasure here for me to be here to support the fantastic work that's being done in the Otways to protect the Otways from feral pigs. Just to explain to you in terms of my role as the National Feral Pig Management Coordinator, this is a program being funded by the Australian Government and being managed by Australian Pork Limited. And it's a role I've held now for about 5 years. And this, of course, always funding dependent, no different to any other program in feral pig management. Oh, now I've done something wrong. What have I done wrong?
I don't think you've done much wrong.
Okay, well, I've got a curve.
Just click off that.
Yeah, thank you.
I think you're back on track.
Right, okay, thank you very much. So in terms of feral pigs, we all know that they're a dire hazard to Australia's environment, to our social assets, as well as to agriculture. We've just heard before about Phytophthora. Phytophthora can be carried by feral pigs as well. So, the whole system is very complex. But looking, of course, and we also saw this morning too, that feral pigs are a key threatening process under the EPBC Act. They jeopardise around 148 threatened species, impacting on 8 threatened ecological communities and dispersed weeds and all other things and damage to vegetation. In relation to social assets, yes, their damage is substantial as well. And to agriculture, understanding the costs of feral pigs to Australian agriculture, we are looking to do that right now and try really to get a better understanding, because while we know that they impact, really trying to understand what their actual impacts are is really, we really need to have a lot more data in this space. And the whole monitoring side of things here is really important so that we can better present the case to government and to other investors for the work required to address feral pigs, because they are covering at least 45% of Australia's continent. So what was done back in 2020, 2021, when I first started in this role, our first mission was to put together the National Feral Pig Action Plan. Many of you may have seen it, and if you want to go and have a look at it, it is on our website, feralpigs.com.au. And the vision of this plan is really around looking to actively suppress populations of feral pigs, or in some instances, being able to eradicate them, such as on islands, and Kangaroo Island right now is a great example of that, and really trying to protect, again, our environmental, agricultural, social and cultural assets from pigs. And how we do that, it's around supporting all the many communities around Australia to work more closely together in coordinated ways at landscape scale, using an across-tenure approach. So where public and private land managers are working very closely together. And it's very easy for me to get up here and say that. Every community is different. Every community has different needs. So every community, of course, has those particular things we need to be working at that level to be able to promote the work and get the work done required to address feral pigs. So this plan has 3 strategic goals. The first of them is around looking at effective leadership, coordinated partnerships and strong governance. And this is also where, of course, trying to think about how we get that information for the monitoring and evaluation that's required, and building that into programs is really important. And the use of tools like Feral Scan that was mentioned earlier on today is really important in that space. Making sure that we've got a social licence to operate through our community engagement and education. So making sure that people are familiar with the best practice management approaches that are there for feral pigs and being able to apply them effectively and efficiently is really important too. And the last one is around increased adoption of best practice management and the methods that are available by land managers. And in all of that, that's really the doing area. What can we do on the ground to support all the communities out there that need to be working on feral pigs? Because there is a change going on here with behaviour change and practice change. A lot of land managers typically work on this problem themselves. Bringing people together is a big challenge. And we're looking at where that alignment is with the great work being done here in the Otways. You can see here the alignment with the plan, with the National Feral Pig Action Plan, looking at monitoring and research, looking at working with stakeholders, which is a critical part of the work being done here, and applying all of the tools that are available in the most effective ways. and being informed by data and information, which I'm sure that James will discuss shortly. So yes, I think we've heard this already this morning, or this afternoon. Working together is key to all of this, and it's really all about people. So we may have a really challenging species to be able to really to control. But in the end, it's up to people to be coordinated and collaborative and share information and build that network at the ground, and actually how we can, add in information that's coming in from other places around Australia to help enhance and support those programs. And so that's a lot of the work that I've been involved in doing over the last 5 years. So the key elements of effective feral pig management programs, there's a few of them, and I've picked out some of the key ones here. So looking at proactive and strategic best practice management. A lot of feral pig management has tended to be reactive. You've seen the pig, you've seen the damage, you go and do something. So it's really not planned. It's very ad hoc and big, quite fragmented, and can be just done by, a land manager. And because pigs and the home ranges of pigs can extend across a number of different properties, if you're just dealing with your own property, you're not actually going to address the problem. So working together is really critical. Engaging land managers through trusted partnerships, and we've heard the word trust earlier today as well. So having trust in the relationships that are there at the local level is critical, and the importance of having a great facilitator to bring those people together. Having good data to inform decision making is key too, and that's an area that is an ongoing focus of mine in terms of what we can be doing to actually provide the information or the methodologies about those practical and simple measures that can be taken on ground to actually show that what you're doing is making a difference over time. And influencing practice and behaviour change of land managers, that's hard and it'll take time, but I'm hoping with the work that is going on and the great examples that I'll talk about in a minute, that we will get there one day. But it's a slow moving beast really. But coordination, collaboration, communication, and commitment are key to all of this. And it's really important that we use all the tools that we have available at the right places, at the right scales, in the right ways, and at the right frequencies. And I'll talk now for a few examples around that as I go. So how do we actually encourage land managers to better control and strengthen feral pig management at a landscape scale? This is, as I mentioned, a continuing work in progress. This is a mob of pigs heading towards a feedlot in Queensland, and it just goes on and on. You just realise how many there are. And of course, for effective feral pig management, you need to get rid of at least 70% of that group every year just to get populations stable. If we don't know how many there are in the first place, how do we actually do that effectively? So, as I've already talked about, people are the critical element for lasting success. And we really are heavily working on, getting those land managers together, motivating people to continue, and the important elements of a strong program are we need to establish trust amongst those land managers and with the local facilitator, set clear goals. They need to be working together towards shared outcomes rather than their own. And a lot of the challenge in that is that with different land managers will have different land uses, and therefore their needs and the damage that feral pigs may be doing to their area, to their land or not, will differ. So how, just establishing what the problem is and getting that unified approach and the unified objective, that does take some discussion. Using flexible and practical approaches for feral pig control, having consistent and shared messaging and understanding what is going on, and being able to communicate that effectively. Using simple strategies is really key too. Upskilling of land managers, this is where training fits in, and being really patient with the ongoing engagement required, because with all of this, there are some examples, of course, where with all of this, you can get these early adopters to be advocates. And when you've got that local community driving these programs, it's really powerful and really effective. So I'll just highlight here a number of other programs that are being conducted. I'll leave James to talk about the work going on here. But really, I think a lot of the elements I'm talking about during my talk now are reflected in the design and the work being done here in the Otway. So the work that is done here is really special and really up there in terms of providing great examples to other groups of the ways that outcomes can be delivered and getting communities engaged, involved, and having terrific outcomes. So the first one of these that I've put up here is from the Midwest demonstration site in Western Australia. I'll talk a little bit about some work going on in Murray Local Land Services in the Riverina in New South Wales, and also, really importantly, a world-leading program being led, Indigenous-led, on the Western Cape of Cape York, where it's involving six ranger groups along that coastline, covering about 800 kilometres of coastline in an island, protecting threatened turtle species from feral pigs. So the first one of these is the work that's been going on in the Murray Local Land Services area. And this is really showing here the power of people and trying to bring people in and the results that can come from this. So back in 2018, they had a small program, really just focusing on trapping. And they had 6 land managers involved with 15,000 hectares covered by this. So the more area we can get covered, the better, and trying to minimise gaps in it all as well, because if there's gaps in areas in the landscape, feral pigs tend to figure that out really quickly and will evade control programs. So trying to get as many people engaged and involved in programs is really, really important. So in 2020-21, new on-ground management approaches, including fixed and portable bait stations, trap designs and field cameras were incorporated, and the number of people engaged in that went up to 18, and the land area covered was around 120,000 hectares. In 2023, this is part of Local Land Services program where you may have already heard that there's been a lot of investment going in New South Wales, where they did allow support for aerial shooting and substantial work in aerial shooting. And when they did that, in 2024, they increased the area up to 650,000 hectares in that area, involving 105 land managers. So yes, we've got a big program. They've got a big program now in managing all of that. And while it's around, they can record numbers of pigs that they may have removed, now it's about incorporating and thinking about what can be done in terms of monitoring. And that's the next phase of this program, being able to show that what differences are being made by the community in terms of their impacts, and being able to measure them consistently, robustly, and over time. The next one here is around the Western Cape Turtle Threat Abatement Alliance. And as I mentioned, this involves 6 Indigenous ranger groups stretching from Kawanyama in the south all the way up to the tip of Cape York. This program has been going on for about 10, 12 years now. And importantly, they're able to get continuing funding through Nest to Oceans program from both the Queensland and Australian government, because this program is impact focused. So they're able to measure here the number of turtle nests that have been protected from feral pigs, and therefore being able to show that they've been able to demonstrate that feral pigs haven't dug up turtle nests, and that has reduced from 90 to 100% of all nests being destroyed by feral pigs, and a lot of those beaches now at around between 10 and 30%, and 30% is a threshold level. So being able to demonstrate that the work going on has been able to protect these threatened species of endangered species of marine turtles, and funnily enough, when you've got good data, you can get good support, and this is a wonderful example of that, and probably the one that I can talk about in terms of having great data, great support, and again, it's at landscape scale, people working together and being facilitated. So that's been a real success. You can see the program up. You can see the photo up there. That's just a gut. They've opened up a pig. This is a photo from a few years ago now, taken by the Department of Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry, but it's full of turtles. So you can just see the impact that one pig can have on the turtle population. Last year, we this site is one of our demonstration sites for the National Feral Pig Action Plan. Nominated them for the Australian Biosecurity Award, and it was fabulous that they won the First Nations Award for Excellence in Biosecurity. So that was huge. They all use the same monitoring system for recording their data. So that means they can share it really easily. And that's been a purpose-built system. So that everyone's using the same system for recording data. Sure. All right, I'm going to have to skip some of these, but the other one here would be around looking at zoning and thinking about applying information from different places. So the zoning approach was used on Kangaroo Island to look at eradicate feral pigs, and it's been applied now in the Midwest of Western Australia. But I can't go into it now because I'm running out of time. But what it has meant is that they've been able to concentrate effort, and they now have more. Rather than doing this, say, every year, they're doing 4 shoots for 3 days and getting much better results, being able to focus in on their effort and improve the effectiveness of the program. I'll keep moving. So all I wanted to say here is we must do things differently to outsmart the pig. We need to be working in coordinated ways with our neighbours. We need to be focusing on the why, really focusing in on the purpose of the work. Implementing our control methods accurately and effectively, looking at making sure that we're working with the community and bringing community on board with it, and growing support to participate in coordinated control, and sustaining motivation and resourcing, because once we start, we can't stop. As I talked about before, feral pigs have a very high reproductive rate. If we don't keep the effort on and the pressure on, the problem will just come back very, very quickly. So we can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results. So with that, thank you very much.
Thanks, Channon. We're a bit behind, so we might go straight in. Thank you very much.